Welcome to an extra special Halloween version of the Fantasy Football Garage. I'm Chris the Candyman, and you already know what time it is. Tonight, we're talking everything week 8. We're drafting dailies on Underdog Fantasy, and we're getting into everything week 8 fantasy. Hey, the Longhorns won today in overtime. Hook 'em, baby. Let's go. We're getting after it. Late night, just coming in from the Halloween costume party. And yeah, let's get into it. Tomorrow's going to be an extra fun day. We have a full slate ahead of us. We don't have any London games. There's no early games on the Sunday slate, but we have the biggest bye week of them all, week 8, 6 teams on bye. Tomorrow, we're going to kick it off with a pretty full noon slate with the Falcons hosting the Dolphins. We have the Bengals hosting the Jets, the Patriots hosting Cleveland, the Eagles, go Birds, hosting the New York Giants. Can they get some revenge after what happened 2 weeks ago when Jackson Dart and Cam Skattebo stole the hearts of America in prime time against the Eagles? Carolina's hosting Buffalo. It's going to be a fun game. Andy Dalton likely to start. Baltimore Ravens hosting the Chicago Bears. The Houston Texans get the San Francisco 49ers at home. In the late window, we have the Saints with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Denver Broncos with hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go, Cowboys. We got Javonte Williams' revenge game on the docket. The Indianapolis Colts are facing the Tennessee Titans, literally one of the best offenses versus one of the worst defenses. Start your Colts this week. The Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the Green Bay Packers on Sunday Night Football. It's an Aaron Rodgers revenge game. And then Monday night, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, the prime time Kings against the Washington Commanders, who are down one Jaden Daniels. So it's a great slate, a lot of games to look at, a lot of games to talk through, sit starts, rest of season outlooks, and drafting some dailies on Underdog tonight in the garage. Get ready. Thanks for being here. Say what up in the chat. If you're new to the channel, make sure you're subscribed. I've got a goal to hit 1,000 subs by the start of the next NFL season, but by the end of this NFL season. And I think we can get there. It's week 8. We're halfway through the fantasy regular season. We're feeling pretty good. The best ball teams are doing well. The redraft team, we need some wins. We have CeeDee Lamb back. We have Rashee Rice in the lineup. We need some wins now. The high stakes team, same story. Rashee Rice is back. We need some wins. Let's get after it. Let me know in the chat what sit-start decisions you have for week 8, what you have going on, which matchups you're looking forward to. And we're going to talk about it, all of that and more tonight in the Fantasy Football Garage. Let's get right into it. Let's hit the intro. But overall, it's like the guy can ball. Like, actions speak louder than words. How we doing? What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday night. Hope you're getting ready for a great week 8 of the NFL season. We had week 9 of the college football season, and what a week. I mean, the comeback for Ole Miss, the comeback for the Texas Longhorns, a lot of good stuff, a lot of fun games today. Man, my Horns, they're keeping it close, right? I mean, overtime, each of the last 2 weeks, winning by 1 score. Whoo, sheesh, making me sweat a little bit. What I've got pulled up here on the screen, I've got some of the running back data summarized through the first 7 weeks of the NFL season. no one other than Christian McCaffrey at the top of the list. Let me pull that down a little bit. Boom. Christian McCaffrey. He is your RB1 7 out of 7 games this season. The most consistent fantasy producer. He has the most touches, 185 touches through 7 games. He's averaging, a 26.4 touches per game. He's got 160 total fantasy points, only behind Jonathan Taylor. But he's doing it, consistently. He scored more than 20 fantasy points in 4 out of our 7 weeks to start the season. Jonathan Taylor, a smash. I mean, he scored, what is that? More than 20 fantasy points 5 out of 7 weeks. He has three touchdown games on the season. Jonathan Taylor, the absolute smash. And then Bijan Robinson, also one of the top backs this year. One of the highest single game fantasy point performances, and averaging about 21.7 fantasy points per game, 1.03 fantasy points per touch, just behind Jonathan Taylor at 1.09 fantasy points per touch. But Bijan's doing it with his yardage. He's got 914 total yards, only behind Christian McCaffrey, and he's doing it in 6 games, not 7. Jonathan Taylor, more of a touchdown merchant. He's got 11 touchdowns through the first 7 games. Javonte Williams, a guy this season, what a comeback and a revenge game for Week 8 against his former team, the Denver Broncos. He's been an RB1 in 5 out of 7 games this season. He's hit an elite ceiling. He scored more than 20 fantasy points in 2 out of those 7 games. So, I mean, wow, a consistent producer, getting the volume, the efficiency, it's all there. It's been wow, what a crazy season we've had. A lot of injuries, some QBs sitting out games and still are. Running backs were waiting to come back, like Omarion Hampton, to name a few. So it's everything you expect and more. And I'm here for it because this is go time in fantasy football. In your redraft leagues, this is the time. It's win now or go home. You're aiming for those fantasy playoffs. You've got only a few more weeks to make up ground if you're not in. Same thing in your dynasty leagues. In our best ball leagues, there's still a long way to go. So buckle up. Let me say what up to everyone in the chat tonight. Thanks for hanging out. I'm supposed to go live practically, 3 hours ago. My bad, chat. Went to a Halloween costume party. Got the pumpkin on. Whole fam was there. Had some fun. Was hanging out with some friends. Don't worry, had a DD. Got a ride home with some friends in the neighborhood, so we're all good there. We had some Fireball shots. We had some Fireball apple shots, the new Fireball apple flavor. It's actually pretty good. We had some Jello shots. We drank some beers. We sat around the fire. We talked, caught up, all of the good things. Ate a bunch of good food. It's Halloween season. Can't deny it. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. So let me catch up. Let me say what up. First off, we got Who Hames, my man. One of my buddies, Who Hames, in the chat says, "Sup, fam." He's hanging out late night. I think he might have fallen asleep already, but let's see if he's still sticking around. Good to see you, Who Hames, my man. Rabona King in the chat. Yo, what up, Rabona? How we doing? Who Hames says, "I'm still here." Yeah. We're pushing the limits, though. It's a late night stream. We got B growing stuff. What's up, brother? Says Evan Ingram or Mark Andrews. Evan Ingram going up against this Denver defense does seem very appealing. I'm not quite convinced if Lamar Jackson is starting or not. I don't think I've heard the official news. Like, is Lamar Jackson starting? The last I heard, the coaching staff was planning on Tyler Huntley, right? Scoop Huntley getting the start. I don't know if that's necessarily good for Mark Andrews. I don't love Evan Ingram as a start, but we could dive into it a little bit deeper. We could look into it. I'm a slight lean to Evan Ingram because of the matchup against the Cowboys, for the Broncos this week. But at the same time, like, Evan Ingram has been fairly disappointing. Really hasn't done too much. Had one touchdown. He's been, I will say, he's been attracting targets at a pretty good rate, averaging about 7 targets a game, about 4 or 5 receptions a game, at least since week 4. So, yeah, I think Evan Ingram in a good spot to have his best week of the season against the Cowboys this week versus Mark Andrews, who, without Lamar Jackson, not super excited about and has some pretty bad fantasy weeks. Even in that primetime game against Kansas City week 4, 8 targets, 7 receptions, 30 yards, not really getting it done in half PPR. Hasn't had a touchdown since week 3 when he had 2 against Detroit with Lamar Jackson. So even though he's coming off the bye against Chicago this week, assuming Lamar Jackson's not playing, right, I think it's pretty official. There's a chance he'll play week 8, but I don't think so. I think he's out, right? We're pretty sure Lamar Jackson's out. So give me Evan Ingram this week. Let's hope he has a career, or not a career game, but his best game of the season. I think we could easily see it. Full PPR, I say Kamara. Yo, what up, Pooh Hames? Glad you're still here, brother. Hope you're having a great night. Sammy says, how we doing, bro? Bro, I'm feeling good. We've had a few brews tonight. We've had a few shots. We had a Halloween party. We're feeling great. I went as a pumpkin, kind of a last minute costume design. You know how it is. Technically, Halloween's not for a week, so I have an excuse, but we're getting after it tonight. Sammy says, I got cooked with Tyrod since Fields is starting. Ooh, okay, yeah. Ooh. And that reminds me, because if Fields is starting, I need to throw Fields into my lineup in my home league, in my Superflex, because I had Michael Penix, but it sounds like Michael Penix is actually the most questionable. So with Fields starting, I'm throwing him in. I'm doing it right now live because I'm pretty skeptical of Michael Penix, right? We think Kirk Cousins is definitely starting. We see the news. Justin Fields to start Sunday. Let's go. They were going to start Tyrod, but he was ruled out with a knee injury. The Jets continue to seek their first win of the season. Fields going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Probably one of the best matchups you could have. Sammy says, picked up Kirk Cousins instead. Yeah, that's right there with you. I mean, I've got Michael Penix in some leagues, and I don't necessarily have Kirk Cousins, but I'm benching Penix. Kirk Cousins is looking to start, right? In Superflex League, do I start Cousins, Kamara, or Kelsey? Even if it's tight end premium, I think there might be an argument for Kelsey. It's tough for Kamara, bro. I always want to start a QB in Superflex, so I'm definitely leaning Kirk Cousins here. Clearly, let's look at some of Kamara's numbers. I'm gonna go a little bit more zoomed in for y'all. Boom, there we go. That works. Let's go down to Kamara. So these are my running backs on this season, their fantasy performances. Let me scroll down to Kamara. Let me say what up in the chat. We got Who Hames here. We got David Lutomsky. We got Jacob. We got B Growing Stuff. We got Harrison Escobar. What's up, brother? We got Stipular Mellow, how we doing, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you all are having a great Saturday night. Thanks for being here. Thanks for chilling with me. Thanks for putting up with me starting late. I honestly thought I would have come home earlier from the party, but it was fun. The wife and kids came home early. They put the kids to bed. I stayed at the party. Some friends drove me home later. I was having a good time. So back to it. Let's look at Alvin Kamara. Why we don't want to start him necessarily. I'm going to scroll down quite a bit on this list. We'll find Alvin Kamara here in kind of the bottom tier of running backs. He has more than 10 fantasy points in 3 out of 7 games. He has scored more than 13 fantasy points, 13 or more one time. He has 0 games with more than 17 fantasy points. He's averaging he's averaging 9 fantasy points per game. 13 is his highest. He's played all 7 games. Just terrible. I mean, he's averaging 0.53 fantasy points per touch. He's got 119 touches, so he is getting a lot of work. Only 1 total touchdown on the season. Only 63 fantasy points. Still getting 17 touches per game, but man, the yardage is and the touchdowns are not good at all. Terrible. So Kamara, even in full PPR, I'm leaning Kirk Cousins for your super flex for Sammy. Who Hames thinks maybe Kamara? It could be a Kamara week. We know Kendra Miller's out for the season with the torn ACL, so maybe they start to lean on him more. I feel like 17 touches per game. How much better can it get? Essentially, since he's averaging a 0.53 fantasy points per touch, let's say he gets 20 touches, he's going to get 10 points. He has a good week. On 20 touches, he might get you 14, 15 points, maybe another score. Has his best game of the season, but I think that's kind of the floor for Kirk Cousins as a full-time starter. So I'm going to lean Kirk Cousins in Superflex there. Yo, what up, David? How we doing, brother? Hope your best ball season is going very well. Hope your team's doing great, my friend. Avoiding all of the injuries. It's been crazy. A lot of quarterback injuries. Definitely the year for 3 QB, it seems, right? At least until this point. Unless you took Drake May. If you were heavy into Drake May, you are doing very well right now, even on 2 QB teams. Jacob says he needs a QB for just this week. 6-point passing touchdown. He's got Mariota, Fields, Tua, Mac Jones. Options are trash, I know. I think Mariota is a great fill-in. He's been averaging about like 17, 18 fantasy points per start this season. He didn't look great coming into the last game where he threw an interception. He's got Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel both playing this week. I think Mariota is a definite consideration. Justin Fields, he's looked terrible the last 2 weeks, but we know what he can do in fantasy. He has that rushing floor. He can get it done. So, Tua has had some bad weeks himself, really bad last week. I think Tua is, not the worst pick. Mac Jones has been pretty nice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look here at the matchups. Let's go to the matchups from one Jake Seeley of The Athletic. We're going to look at the quarterback matchups this week and just kind of let that guide us a little bit, because I think this is a similar tier for Mariota, Fields, Tua, and Mac Jones. I think they're all viable starters this week, but let's see what we can get according to the adjusted points allowed, and take a look and see if we have any favorable matchups. So, let's go down the list. Who do we find first? The quarterback matchups this week would have, Justin Fields in a pretty good spot. The 10th best matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals out of the total possible 26 games. Mac Jones and Tua have very difficult matchups this week. We have the Dolphins going up against the Atlanta Falcons, who have a very improved defense and improved pass rush with the 2 rookies they drafted in the first round. The 49ers going up against the Houston defense is not a good spot to be in. So we're definitely leaning towards Fields or Mariota. Mariota's going up against the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. So kind of nice to have, one of the last game of the entire week and have a quarterback score that can infect your lineup, get you there. Mariota can get it done on the ground. Definitely a guy that can hit a 20-point, 22-point type of game. But I'm honestly thinking Fields, and I know it's been tough lately, but I'm starting Fields in my leagues where I've got him. I think he he's had some struggles. He's a bad real life quarterback. He's a good quarterback for fantasy. So let's hope that Fields can get right against the Bengals. Maybe the Jets get their first win. I'm gonna suggest Fields, but I think Mariota is the close second based on the matchups. Fun question, Jacob. Hope you're doing well this weekend. Yeah, Huham saying Jackson out. Yeah, Roger that. Jackson's definitely out. We got Slapski in the chat. What's up, brother? We got Putt Daddy in here. Good to see you. Good to see you. We got Vish Hayes in the chat. What's up, brother? Big Growing Stuff says, pick one, Mooney, Golden, or Marks. That's kind of tough. That is honestly tough. These are all kind of low-end flex options. I have Mooney in my home league, my half-point PPR home league. I think I'm benching Mooney for Alec Pierce. And I like both of them, right? I was going to start Mooney. Let's look at the matchups. The Jake Seeley adjusted points against from The Athletic. Let's just kind of scroll through. So we're going to compare Mooney and Golden and then Marks based on the matchups. Well, I guess we'll do running back first. So where does the Texans against the 49ers rank in terms of matchups? It's number 17 out of 26. It's a little bit of a negative matchup. Marks is not the RB1. He's the RB2 on his own team. So a little bit of a, I mean, I like Marks. I think he can be a fun flex. Not the best matchup we might think though. At the same time, I mean, when it was against the Ravens a few weeks ago, Marks didn't get much done. So I don't know how much matchup matters if you're the RB2. You're kind of just hoping for more opportunity. Let's look at the wide receivers because I'm really thinking maybe Mooney or Golden is the best bet here. We look at Mooney. He's going to be playing with Kirk Cousins. It's not even the best matchup, though. I think people think the Dolphins are exploitable, but according to the adjusted points allowed, the Dolphins are the 19th best matchup. So a bottom 10 matchup this week for wide receiver groups for Atlanta. You know, and then thinking about Matthew Golden, it's a lot better. Pittsburgh, it's a Sunday night game. It's a revenge game, right? For Aaron Rodgers, the Steelers hosting the Green Bay Packers. I kind of like this. It's been tough. It's hard to figure out if the Packers are, you know, just going to run the ball and very limited passing volume. I think we're going to see the second half of the season, Jordan Love kind of breaks out a little bit. I'm hoping for it at least. So if Matthew Golden is a big part of that happening, it's a good matchup for him against this Pittsburgh secondary this week. So I'm going to slight lean to Matthew Golden. I don't think you have a terrible choice if you do go with Mooney or Marks. Mooney's been getting some targets, but like we're still waiting to kind of see it since he's coming back from the injury. He's now playing with Kirk Cousins, a little different scenario, but he had a great connection with Kirk Cousins last season. I will say that. So I'm going to go slight lean to Golden and then Mooney and then Marks. Yeah, Jacob's thinking Ingram. I'm definitely feeling that way. We got John B in the chat. What's up, brother? Game Faces here. Let me catch up with y'all. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday night. What are you guys up to? I just got back from a Halloween party. That's kind of why I started late tonight. So I don't know if you've heard me say it, but I had a lot of fun earlier. I had a Halloween party in the neighborhood at a friend's house, and they go hard on Halloween. I mean, they had Jello shots. They had pictures of old fashions. I had one. They had meatballs. There was Halloween cookies, candy, of course. Had a little bit. What else we had? There's a lot going on. We had a bonfire in the backyard. Good stuff. Fun times. Hope you guys are getting in the Halloween spirit. Here we are a week out. I got to get an official costume. I don't know what I'm going to be officially for Halloween. I went as a pumpkin tonight. I was a pumpkin. My daughter was a dragon. My son was an astronaut. My wife was a star. So we were all over the place. I think officially for Halloween next week, I think I'm going to be, I don't know yet. Honestly, I don't know. I was going to be maybe an astronaut as well. Or I could be, I thought it might be fun to go as a character that matches my daughter, but she's a dragon and a unicorn. She has two outfits. So I don't know really what to play off of for that. So Let me know if you guys got a Halloween costume. Have you done a do-it-yourself, made at home costume? Those are always the best. I feel like those are always the most fun. Or are you doing like a family theme or a friend grouped theme costume if you have Halloween plans? Harrison says, thoughts on Woody Marks this week? Perfect timing. We just kind of covered Woody Marks. Not a great matchup against San Francisco, but we like Woody Marks on this channel. We're hopeful. We can look at the running back data. We'll get into it. Harrison's desperate for a running back this week. He seems like my best option. Seems to be taking over the Houston backfield. Thanks, man. I think you're onto something. Let's look at the data. So I'm going to scroll up just a bit. We'll go to the top, and then I'll come back down. We're going to look at Woody Marks and what he's done so far this season. Hey, he's pretty close up here. He's the top 25 running back, top 23 running back, according to the data. He's not very consistent, though. He did have a 25.9 fantasy points and half point PPR total a few weeks back. He's only averaging 8 fantasy points per game, but they're very respectable 0.9 fantasy points per touch. The Texans coming off a bye. He'd only been averaging 9 touches a game. I think that can go up. What this says is if Woody Marks can get to 12, 15 touches per game, he's going to be averaging about 11 or 14 fantasy points. So I think he's a flex worthy consideration this week. I think you're good there. There's definitely worse options you could do. I started Aaron Jones in my oldest dynasty league, even though it's full PPR. What a dud. What a dud on Thursday Night Football, Aaron Jones. So I think Woody Marks is definitely in that flex territory this week, RB3 territory. Stipular Mello, how we doing, brother? Says, I just traded Derrick Henry and Bill Krosky-Merritt for Josh Jacobs. Love it. I love that for you. We're very in on Josh Jacobs around here. Derrick Henry, super inconsistent, super low floor. They're just not giving him as many touches as they should. I mean, he's averaging 15.5 touches per game. His efficiency is kind of cratered a little bit, 0.76 fantasy points per touch. Only 93 total touches through 6 games, comparable to Jordan Mason of the Vikings, who's been quite a disappointment as well. They both have 4 touchdowns on the season. Very similar profiles, Derrick Henry, Jordan Mason. So Derrick Henry, not super excited, but Josh Jacobs killing it through 6 games, averaging 19.2 fantasy points a game, 0.91 fantasy points per touch. Stellar, 127 touches, 8 touchdowns. The Packers are rolling. The Packers offensive line is good. I love it. You're 1-6. You need something. You need some juice. I hope Josh Jacobs can be that for you this week. He didn't have a bye week. He's already had his bye week, so he's good the rest of the season. I like the trade up for Josh Jacobs, the consolidation, even though I like Bill. And Henry's fine, but Josh Jacobs is one of our top studs at the running back position this season. We're all in on Josh Jacobs. Yeah, I love that. Even though you had to get rid of a Bill Krosky-Merritt, I'm very in on Josh Jacobs. And Bill is more inconsistent. If you're 1-6, you're going to need some more consistency. But at the same time, any given week, you might just see one of these from good old Bill. Science definitely rules. But Josh Jacobs is killing it this season. I'm all in on Josh Jacobs. Great question. Thanks, Stipular, for being here. Whew. Let me catch up with y'all. Who else we got in here? Yeah, Harrison, thank you. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here. We got Nunez. How we doing? Kincaid or Kelsey? We'll get to that. But in short, honestly, I don't know. I think Kelsey. We'll have to get to that one. Let's jump back up to our questions everyone's up to. Yeah, Cousins is in, Fields is in, Lamar is out. Huhaim's giving us the lowdown. Appreciate you, brother. Jacob says going to be tough for Fields with Garrett Wilson out. I think so too, but the thesis on Fields has always been around his legs, the rushing attack, what he can do on the ground game. So I think it'd be even crazier if Breece Hall is out or very limited too, because the offense is just starting to crumble. It's a good point, though. Going to be tough for Fields. I don't expect much out of his passing game. Mason Taylor, what's up with him too? Is he out? So, man, it's crazy. Putt Daddy, how we doing, brother? Hope you're doing well. Any more info on London this week? Starting Mooney this week? Yeah, I was gonna start Mooney this week. I personally just benched Mooney for Alec Pierce, and I'm kind of on the fence about it. Let me pull up my Atlanta Falcons intel. What I can get into. Anything on London this week? I haven't heard anything. So Raheem Morris talked about 2 days ago. No, gosh, 4 days ago now, on October 22nd. He was saying Michael Penix is day to day. They weren't sure. I haven't seen, offensive coordinator Zach Robinson from 4 days ago says they want to play Bijan as much as they can. They still like to get Tyler Algier involved. I haven't heard any talk on London from these guys this week. I'm scrolling through the Coach Speak Index Discord. The last thing I saw about London, honestly, from almost 10 days ago, Drake London is an absolute dog. When he gets the ball in his hand, he's ferocious, he's vicious, he's tough. He brings toughness to our team. He sets the tone. He's everything that you'd want in a wideout, everything that you'd want in a player. I love him, says head coach Raheem Morris in their post-game presser from the end of last week. So I haven't heard anything recently on London. I think Mooney's a viable start. He's kind of a borderline flex play. It's been a little bit inconsistent, but I'm not out on Mooney. I am slightly feeling the love for Alec Pierce this week, I'll say. Slapsky says, half point, 2 flex, starters, May, Bijan, Bill. I've already rolled the clip. CD, Egbuka, Otten, Shakir, Dowdle, Bench and Genty, Marks, Golden, Jason, Theo Johnson. Well, of course, you got Jason on a bye. Genty on a bye. Your starting lineup looking good. I like it. He's got available Caleb Williams. Oh, Caleb Williams is a pickup. I would probably... It's tough. I mean, what do you need Theo Johnson for? You got Otten. I don't love Theo Johnson. I like Otten more at the moment. Available is Caleb Williams, Fields, Brashard, Algier, Tracy Hunt, Downs, Malik Washington, Leggett, Fannin, Hunter Henry, Schultz, Johnny Jawan. There's a bunch of tight ends available. I feel like the difference between owning Theo Johnson and then just being able to stream a tight end if you needed like Schultz or Jawan or Hunter Henry or Fannin, there's no difference to me. So you really need to drop Theo Johnson and pick up Caleb Williams, who to me is a very viable starter. Yeah, you don't have Drake May on a bye until week 14, but I think the option of having Caleb Williams is a nice piece here. If you're in the thinking that it's single quarterback and I've got Drake May and I don't have to worry about replacing him until week 14, that's so far out. You've got week 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 to think about, and you want some more depth. I could see how you might want some depth. You could pick up Algier just in case anything happens to Bijan. Hunt is kind of dealing with the knee injury himself, but he's not a bad pickup. I'm out on Tracy. I think Brashard Smith is also interesting. I've been hearing some good things. I'm going to read you something that the Chiefs have been talking about regarding Brashard Smith. I read this earlier tonight. Let me read it again. So this is from head coach Andy Reid yesterday. Kareem Hunt has a bone bruise on his knee. He's going to be okay. We'll have him sit out practice today. This is yesterday. Andy Reid says, Brashard Smith has done a nice job of picking it up at that position. You got to know the pass game, the run game, and then protections that you have to take care of. The protections get a little crazy with all the different looks, the different the different looks that defenses throw at you. And then with as many types of protections that we have in our offense, and he's hung right in there. He's done a good job. We've been able to get him a little bit more each week in different roles. We're moving him all over the place. I wouldn't see that part changing. We're going to keep utilizing his talents, work harder, all that. The intangible stuff's great. So what that means to me, if you look at how they've used Brashard Smith in the last 4 games, heavily involved in the passing game and getting some more work, getting some more snaps. Honestly, probably the most interesting piece here available for you would be to drop Theo Johnson and to pick up Brashard Smith, unless you just want to lock in Caleb Williams, is where I'm at. Drop Tootin to get Shakir off waivers. That's fair. That's very fair. Shakir's good for a spot start. I think Tootin is interesting for the rest of the season. Yeah, I know who Hames is a Mooney believer as well. We're in on Mooney being a good option. I'm hopeful. David says not amazing, but getting better every week. Hey, there's a long way to go, brother. We'll get there. We'll get there. We got Vish Hayes in the chat. He says, angry Mayfield after a primetime loss. Please and thank you. Yeah, dude, I'm totally in. I'm starting Mayfield in my home league. It's been fun. It's been a good start all season. So I think we get there, even with the injuries to the wide receivers, to the running backs. Baker can get it done. And he's sneaky on the ground, too. He can scramble a little bit, right? So, yeah, we want to get Mooney back involved. What up, Game Face? How we doing, brother? My Rico, Flowers, and Dart for Chase Brown and Higgins. Should I do it? This is tough. I mean, Chase Brown, I'm out. Higgins has been looking better with Flacco. He's been looking decent, a flex-worthy option, a wide receiver 3 the last 2 weeks with Flacco. I mean, I don't want to count Flowers out. He had a solid start to the season, and he's been terrible without Lamar Jackson. I think Rico, to me, I'm still very in on. And then Dart is quite an exciting piece. I get that it's a single QB league, but I still want Dart. I think the upside's there. It's pretty fun right now, even with Malik Neighbors out. Like, Dart's getting it done. He's doing it on the ground. He's making it happen. So I'm a lean towards keeping Rico, Flowers, and Dart and kind of fading the Bengals. I don't know how much longer Joe Flacco keeps this up where he's supporting this multiple options for fantasy in the Bengals offense. I think Jamar Chase can get his. Chase Brown's been pretty bad this year behind a bad offensive line, very bad efficiency. We'll scroll down, Game Face. Let me give you a little insight onto who, unfortunately, Chase Brown has become this season. We see him right here. He's never been an RB2. He's never been an RB1. He's never been elite. He's been an RB3 only 29% of the time. So 2 out of 7 games, he's averaged at least 10 points. His best game of the season, 12 points. He's averaging 8.5. Terrible. He's played every game. He's averaging 0.56 fantasy points per touch on 107 touches. So he's got a lot of volume, 15 touches per game, but not getting it done. No touchdowns, not a lot of yardage. Terrible offensive line. Count me out. Do not trade for Chase Brown. John B says, would you trade away Sutton for Garrett Wilson straight up? Honestly, no, not at this point in the season. I think Sutton's having a great season. He's had a good run with Bo Nix. He's getting it done. I think with the injury to Garrett Wilson, I love Garrett Wilson. The injuries, the question at who's the quarterback in that situation, I'd kind of prefer Sutton right now. Yo, what up, Michael? How we doing tonight? This Haish says Watson is going to steal some of the volume as well. Yeah, that's true. That could be true for sure, right? Harrison, really like that you go live. I'm headed to bed, but definitely excited I found your channel. Hey, thank you, brother. Appreciate you being here. Have a good night, man. I don't always go live this late. I was having too much fun earlier tonight, but glad you found the channel. Thanks for being here. Anytime you have a question, you can throw it into a comment on any of my past videos. I mean, this is a heads up for everyone. Make sure you like the stream, the video tonight. Make sure you're subbed to the channel. If you're watching, come say what up in the chat. And also, if you ever have any questions, you can come into the chat, ask me your fantasy football questions. You can comment your questions on any of my past shorts or videos. I'll follow up, I'll answer, sit starts, things like that. I'm always, Sunday morning, I'm always checking my lineups, checking the news, checking Twitter. So you can follow me on Twitter at FFB Garage. Links in the description, all that good stuff. If you want to, you can, tweet at me there or shoot me a DM there. If you follow me, I'll follow you back on Twitter. Good stuff. But yeah, appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here tonight. Hope you're having a great Saturday. B Growing says, problem is Golden is questionable. 8-20 game. Mooney, Marks play at 1. Yeah, this is a good point. With the Sunday night game, Golden's questionable. I don't know that I officially caught that. I don't know how worried I am about that. Let me look into it a little bit here for the Packers. Let's see what they're saying, right? I read up on the Packers. I didn't see a whole lot about that. I know that Josh Jacobs has been slightly questionable, but they expect him to play this week. I know Wicks is not practicing this week. I meant to say, but Christian Watson is practicing and could get some. I would expect maybe Christian Watson plays 20%, 30% of snaps at most. I don't think he's going to have a big role if he does play this week. I haven't seen anything about Golden. Matthew Golden is maximizing his opportunities. He's doing a great job. He's showing strong hands. That was 10 days ago, though. But yeah, I could easily see starting Mooney or Marks over Golden. It's pretty close. John says they moved up Woody Marks to RB1 on the Sleeper app. Not sure how much that counts for. Yeah, I don't know. I prefer Woody Marks. Coming out of the bye, you expect a rookie bump, if people say that. So he's definitely better than Nick Chubb at this point in their careers. Honestly, I don't know. I think it could be a fun rest of season outlook for Woody Marks. At the same time, not the greatest matchup this week against the 49ers defense. Thanks for being here, Harrison. Back to Nunez says Kincaid or Kelsey. Let's look at the tight end matchups from Jake Seeley on The Athletic. The adjusted points allowed. The tight end matchups this week. If we're talking Kincaid against Carolina, it's a very positive matchup. One of the best this week. If we're talking Kelsey against Washington, kind of middle of the road, I think I'm slightly into Kincaid. If he's fully healthy, if he's a full go, just seems like a better matchup and pretty close overall. I have been starting Kelsey in my home league, so I'm a little bit biased that I think Kelsey's doing fine this year, and I think he is doing better than we expected. But especially at the price you could have got him, Kelsey's fine. He's definitely startable. Kincaid's been good too. He's had some good games. Kincaid's essentially their best receiver. It's him and Shakir and Coleman, and I think Kincaid is actually probably, should be the preferred target. So given health, let's go Kincaid. The more I've thought about it, let's go Kincaid. Taylor in for Mason Taylor. Good to know. Putt Daddy says, I believe Nico and Kirk are both out, which I think is true as well. So that may bump up Marks for more opportunities. I think that's a smart way to look at it. The total of the pie of the opportunity, does Marks get more? I just worry it's a tough matchup against the 49ers, and how many touchdowns are the Texans going to score? How many opportunities are they going to have for, these high value fantasy touches? And does Chubb take some of those? So I think you guys are all pretty in on Marks this week. I can come around to it. It's a tough matchup, I will say. Yo, Michael, what up? Michael says, full PPR flexing Marks or Pacheco or Spears, or I could pick up Noel. How do you feel about Mason Taylor, who's questionable with Field starting, or I could pivot to Loveland? That's tough. If you're between Mason Taylor and Loveland, that's pretty tough because both of them have a low floor. Tight end matchup wise, it's the best matchup for Mason Taylor against the Bengals. So I'm leaning that. I'm leaning going there over Loveland until we see it from Loveland, right? Loveland, kind of a middle of the road matchup. We really haven't seen it yet. I know Cole Kmet's kind of questionable, maybe out. I'm going to lean Mason Taylor there. It seems like the best matchup with the Jets. So let's go with Mason over Loveland. For the flex, Pacheco or Spears or Marks. I'm going to lean Marks. I'm kind of out on Pacheco. He's just, and I know Kareem Hunt's a little bit banged up, but Rashard Smith's getting more involved, as we know. I don't particularly think of this matchup against the Washington Commanders as a plus matchup. In fact, according to Jake Seeley from The Athletic, his adjusted points allowed for the running back matchups, kind of a bottom 8, range for KC against Washington compared to, we saw the Texans is also not much better, but a little bit better against the 49ers. And then your other option would be Spears against the Colts. I actually think that's tough. We find on the list the Tennessee Titans. I keep scrolling past them, but they're lower than both of those outlooks. Pollard's still active, so Tennessee's a pretty negative matchup for the run game against the Colts. I'm going to lean Woody Marks here. I mean, let's go to the running back data. We've got Woody Marks as a very interesting, high ceiling potential kind of guy, 0.9 fantasy points per touch. Compare that to Pacheco, really has no ceiling. Pacheco is way down on the list. Here he is at 0.64 fantasy points per touch. His best game of the season is like 12 points compared to Marks having more than double that. And that's where I'd want to go. Spears, we haven't seen a whole lot of him this season. It's been very limited. He's just kind of getting back. Spears at the bottom of my list here hasn't done much yet. So we got to see it from Spears. I think we've already seen it from Marks. So let's go Marks this week. I think Pacheco's a disappointment and a tough player, a tough play if you need to start him. Yo, what up, Derek? How we doing, brother? Derek says, do we go Travis Kelce or Kyle Pitts if London is ruled out? Okay, so you guys are also thinking that London might be ruled out. I need to look more into this. I haven't heard too much about London. I'm going to pull it up on Sleeper right now on my phone. I'm going to pull up London and just see what's going on. Because if London is out, I might be more inclined to start Mooney. I see that he's questionable with a hip. He's added to the injury report as a late addition. Oh, wow. This happened today. That's why I hadn't really seen it in the last 9 hours. Wow. Okay, that's bad news for London. I think I'm going to go ahead and put Mooney back in my lineup over Alec Pierce, I think. You guys have convinced me. I've seen it. If London's out, Mooney's a big priority target for Kirk Cousins. That's just the way it goes. Kyle Pitts is a great play with London out, but he's also been pretty good on his own lately. Something I was looking at, we'll go to looking at Whopper, looking at air yards, target share. Let me pull up the Atlanta Falcons. It goes Drake London, far and away the top target, but then it's Kyle Pitts, and then it's Bijan, and then it's Mooney. So Kyle Pitts has had a nice role, only one touchdown. They haven't had a ton of passing touchdowns in this offense, I will say that. Maybe it's a big day for Pitts. Let's compare that to Kelce, who's also had a pretty decent role, but we're seeing Rashee Rice coming back, having a bigger and bigger role each week. So it looks like Pitts has had slightly more opportunity than Kelce. The target share is Pitts at 19, Kelce at 17. Pitts getting more air yards. Pitts only has 1 touchdown. Kelce has 2. They have, Kelce has more yak. Kelce has more receiving yards, 1 more reception. He's played 1 more game. I think we look at the matchups again, right, for tight end. And Pitts against Miami is pretty nice. Top 8 matchup. On the other hand, KC and Kelce against Commanders, kind of like a middle matchup. So I'm going to do a slight lean to Pitts, especially with London out. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for him. Yeah, John B., I totally agree. I think this week will tell us a lot about Woody Marks' rest of season. And it's what we need to be, let's pay attention to his touches, to his snaps. Is he getting carries inside the red zone? Is he getting carries on the goal line? Is he playing snaps early in the first quarter? Because that's what we want to see him take over from Nick Chubb. It's not even so much about the fantasy performance. Like, there's a good chance they don't score a rushing touchdown against the 49ers. There's a good chance the Texans have a tough game against this 49ers defense. So I can see a good case of why you'd want to start Woody Marks this week. But I think rest of season outlook, we need to like ground it in the opportunity and not the results. Process over results. Are the Texans looking to Marks more on important drives early in the game and then when the touches matter? Are they still using Chubb as that reliable veteran presence? Coming out of the bye, we should expect Marks to take over more role, but who knows, man? We'll see. I'm excited to see it for sure. Michael says, good stuff, bud. Thanks for your time. Just subscribe. We'll be checking in often. Hey, thank you, Michael. Hope you're having a great night, my friend. Thanks for being here. I usually don't go this. Well, I mean, honestly, between me and you, I honestly do stream this late. I typically don't start this late. If I'm live on a Saturday night and it's 2 a.m. Eastern time, I've usually been live for like 4 or 5 hours. But I went to a Halloween party tonight and I got home late. I wanted to start the stream around 10 Eastern. I ended up starting it, I don't even know what, close to midnight. So that's how it is. But thanks for being here. Glad you found the channel. And thank you all for being here tonight. Make sure you like the stream. If you have any fantasy questions when I'm not live, you can always comment on my older videos and I'll see it and I'll respond. You can also follow me on Twitter at FFB Garage, link in description. Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. You can tweet at me. You can DM me. Both open options to get at me. And yeah. Yeah, check down passes for Woody Marks. I think that's in the cards. Let's dive deeper into Woody Marks. Let's pull up some Woody Marks data. 100%. Yeah, John B. Hey, Chris B. My man. How we doing, Chris B? Thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Hey, glad you're here, man. Hope you're having a great night. Brother, the Jets. We're struggling. I don't have to tell you twice. I don't have to mention it. I won't say too much. But golly, man, we got to get a win for these Jets, man. We got to get a win this week. I mean, going up against Joe Flacco and the Bengals, we need it. We need it, Chris. Chris, I want to show you this too. I don't know if you were here in the last stream when I officially pulled this thing out, but Meg and Steve from Fanspeak, they sent me the trophy. The Best Ball Jeopardy inaugural season championship. None other than your boy, Candyman. Look at that. How nice. How nice are they? Make sure you guys are subscribed to the Fanspeak Network on YouTube. You can follow them on Twitter as well. I've been on their channel a bunch. I did the whole Best Ball Jeopardy. I won the whole thing. Very fun. I've drafted teams with Steve, with Meg, with Andrew, with Bruni. Love them all. Great people, great channel, great content. I'm a subscriber to their premium Substack. It's called the Fan Speak Network. You can subscribe on Substack for less than $3 a month. It's literally nothing, and they put out tons of DFS articles, betting, for fantasy, for NFL bets. They've got their best ball content, their season long content. It's really good stuff. They're some of my favorite people in the space, and yeah, I just want to show off the trophy. Look at that, got the trophy in the background now. Super cool. Thanks for being here, Chris B. Hope you're having a great night, brother. Man, we're gonna get a win for these Jets, and if anything, we're gonna have the first round draft pick for the Jets. So there's always hope, brother. I've been there. I remember when the Texans had the first round draft pick, first overall, they got Jadeveon Clowney. Honestly, not a bad pick. And then the second overall pick with CJ Stroud, the third overall pick with they had, right? And so the Texans have been really kind of digging themselves out of that hole for a while. I mean, with Will Anderson, I was blanking on his name for a second. I wanted to, what was coming to my head? I know that it's Will Anderson. I mean, defensive rookie of the year, offensive rookie of the year, CJ Stroud a few years back, but I was going to say Will Anderson, but at this late hour, my brain is in a fog, and I was thinking Mario Williams, throwback. Mario Williams, of course, one of the Texans' former first-round picks, one of the best picks the franchise ever made. They took him over Reggie Bush. They took him over Vince Young. They took Mario Williams back in the day. Hope you're doing great, Crispy. Thanks for being here, my man. Yes. Yeah, how funny, though, wasn't it? I mean, I don't know if you guys have watched those episodes, but you can always go back on the Fanspeak Network for the best ball Jeopardy episodes. They had maybe 12, 20 episodes. I'm in 4 of them because I won every matchup I was in. Undefeated best ball Jeopardy champ for 2025. But they had a bunch of good episodes, ton of great content creators, a really, really fun thing to bring the best ball community together. So fun. So make sure you guys check that out on YouTube as well, Fanspeak Network. And you can go back and watch the episodes that I'm in if you want to. I don't know. It's fun. I think it's fun. It's great content. Yo, what up, Big Bando? How you doing, brother? What's up, bro? I went crazy. Give me your thoughts. 6-1. Hell yeah. Love that for you. Glad you're killing it. Let's see. Just traded Bucky for CMC. Oh, man. You traded your Bucky for CMC? I love that. B-Rob in a third on its take. Okay, it's Dynasty. I see what you're saying now. So, now I follow because in redraft, that's impossible. Bucky for CMC, B-Rob in a third on its take. You're 6-1. You're trying to win. Bucky, when's he coming back? We don't know. How much of the opportunity is Rachaad White taking over? Probably some of it, more than none. The coaches love Rachaad White. They love Bucky too, but it's a true 1A, 1B. CMC is the guy. This is one of his seasons. It's not his best season. It's not his peak. It's not his prime. But we're looking at him right here, right? He's averaging 22.9 fantasy points per game. He has the highest scoring week on the season with 35.6 fantasy points. Second to none. He's getting 0.87 fantasy points per touch. Incredible. 185 touches on the season. I think the touchdowns will catch up. He's only got 6. He could easily have 10. 26 touches per game. Insane. Almost 1,000 yards through 7 games. Incredible. He's on pace for 1,000 season, 1,000 rushing yards, 1,000 receiving yards. It is a tough matchup against the Texans this week, but you're talking dynasty. You're talking long-term. And you know what? I think this is fair. I think because of how high the floor is and how high the ceiling is for McCaffrey, who knows when he's going to start to, it's dynasty. I'm not being the typical dynasty take bro where it's oh, I don't like guys over 26 if they're running back or 28 if they're wide receiver. I don't care. I want results. I want players who are scoring those fantasy points. So I think this is fine. B-Rob doesn't really move the needle for me. The third round pick doesn't move the needle for me that much. So essentially, it's you're making a bet on win now. Give me McCaffrey now. He's healthy. He's playing. He's dominating. Bucky's injured. He's out. And Bucky's good when he's in, but he's not in right now. And honestly, Bucky's only this season has been averaging 0.69 fantasy points per touch. He was averaging 22.5 touches per game through his first 4 games, but we've seen Rachaad White taking over. Rachaad White, 0.82 fantasy points per touch, much more efficient. He's averaging 12 touches per game. I think when Bucky Irving comes back and he's out this week, he's got a bye next week. Week 10, Bucky Irving comes back if we're lucky. I think it's a 1A, 1B situation. So if you're trying to win now and you need ceiling and you need consistency, Christian McCaffrey, I like it. Yeah, of course. Yes, sir. Dynasty. I got you. And it's full PPR. Your case is made. It's McCaffrey. McCaffrey's kind of irreplaceable in full PPR. And I don't care in Dynasty whether he's an old running back or a young running back. He's getting you results now, and that matters a lot for sure. Yeah, great questions. So knowing that London's like questionable, I threw Mooney into my lineup. I think the connection between Kirk Cousins and Mooney is good. I think Pitts is kind of probably a good play this week as well if we think London really is out. So yeah, I think the Falcons going up against the Dolphins, even with Kirk Cousins, it's like it's a decent enough matchup. I think there'll be some fantasy points scored. The Dolphins are kind of struggling. One of the matchups on Wednesday night, I talked about this with Hartman and Who Hames. We've been going live every Wednesday night. Make sure you guys check out and are subscribed to Who Hames and Hartman Fantasy Football. You can find the links to their channels in my past videos when I have got them in there, or you can just search for their channels. But we were talking ball on Wednesday. We were talking about the main slate, the outlook. This Philly game hosting the New York Giants, pretty intriguing for fantasy. A lot of good options. Now we know AJ Brown's actually out this week, so I don't know if that moved the line too much, but Philadelphia lost at New York Giants 2 weeks ago. Now they're a 7.5-point home favorite. I don't know, man. New York is kind of feisty. They're, Jackson Dart looking good, the Cam Scattaboo connection. So yeah, man. Hey, thanks for being here, John B. Good luck tomorrow as well. Appreciate you. Hey, thanks for finding the channel. Thanks for being here. Peace out, brother. Catch you next time. Dallas. Hey, what up, brother? How are you doing, Dallas? Who's better, Jordan Addison or Brian Thomas Jr.? Gosh. I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is Brian Thomas, but Jordan Addison's a dog. I mean, we're all about Jordan Addison on this channel. If you haven't seen the clip already, I'm going to roll it right now as soon as I can find it. There it is. I mean, Jordan Addison is that guy. He gets it done. I mean, he's a Biletnikoff winner in college, played for Pitt, played for USC. He got it done wherever he was. He's a touchdown guy. He's a big play waiting to happen. He had a touchdown on Thursday Night Football. He didn't have a killer week, didn't have a lot of yards. The Vikings had a pretty shitty game, so whatever. But Yeah, Addison versus Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas, I retweeted it today. Follow me on Twitter at FFB Garage. I retweeted it today that I saw something. It was talking about Brian Thomas Jr. potentially a trade candidate, and I honestly couldn't really believe that. I was kind of, I think it's kind of fake news, but Diana Rossini was tweeting out that the Jaguars are listening on trade calls for wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. Even if the move feels highly unlikely, they're also shopping for defense. Bro, I don't know. I trust Diana Rossini, but like, I don't know. That's kind of crazy. I know it's been a bad start to the season for him. Great rookie season. A lot of it was with Mac Jones. He's playing with Trevor Lawrence. He's not doing as good. Aston's the dog. He's that guy. I think the obvious, the right answer is like, who's better, Brian Thomas Jr. or Jordan Addison? I think Brian Thomas is a little bit better. The situation right now is favoring Jordan Addison. Yo, what up, Diablo? What up? Deep at wide receiver 2. Should I trade Trey Tucker for 2/3 or just hold on to him? I'm gonna say hold Trey Tucker. I think 2/3 is probably a decent price for him, probably just about right. I don't know if you can get like a second round pick for him, and I don't know how much that would like make a difference. So if you feel like you're pretty deep, you're not going to use Trey Tucker, and you're trying to like pay it forward and get some future picks, I can see the value of 2 future third rounders. Um, but Trey Tucker, I think I mean, especially in Dynasty, I will revert to like the whole age argument. He is kind of that guy for his team. He's playing all the snaps. He's super reliable. And I think he's definitely a guy that can be flexible going forward, a flex play. We've seen a super high ceiling, all that stuff. So Diablo says, I got some nasty boys for you, flex. Half point with injuries and a bye. He's down to, and I mean, hey, I'm starting some nasty plays this week, so I can relate. Josh Downs, Brashard Smith, Kyle Monangai, Xavier Legette, or Jalen Knoll. Jalen Knoll is interesting because Nico Collins and Kirk Cousins are out, and Jalen Knoll had pretty nice week. The last time we saw him, week 7, right? Downs, a good spot, a good offense, a good player. Kind of where I lean. We talked about Brashard Smith. He's getting more opportunity. We like that. We think it could be pretty nice to get the Monday night game. Monangai had a big week last week. A lot of it was getting touches late in the game. Swift already got his. Monangai gets some too. Monangai did have that touchdown in the second quarter, so it's not like it was all at the end of the game. And they're playing the Ravens this week, so it's a great matchup. It's a plus matchup. One of the best defenses to take advantage of. Legette had a nice game last week. What's going to happen this week with Andy Dalton at QB, we think, and against a very, very tough Bills defense? They don't give up a whole lot of passing yards. This is close. I think I'm gonna lean towards Downs. And then it's a toss-up, really. Yeah, it's a toss-up between the rest. I'm gonna lean Downs because one other thing I'll show you for the wide receiver matchups. I mean, the Colts have a hell of a running back matchup against the Titans, but the wide receiver matchup for the Titans, it's also a top 10 matchup. Or no, that's the Titans against the Colts. Huh. It's kind of middle of the road, actually. It's kind of middle for the Colts against Tennessee. Huh. I don't know how I feel about that. And then Leggett, we can't go Leggett. I mean, according to this chart, the Bills aren't the worst defense to go up against for receivers, but I know from like their per game stats, it's pretty tough. Uh, See, this is tough. I know what you're saying. Nasty options, half point. Downs is better in full PPR. I'm still probably a slight lean to Downs, but I wouldn't hate going with one of the running backs because Monangai has a top matchup here. Chicago against Baltimore is one of the best matchups of the week. So I'm going to do slightly into Downs, and then I'm going to say Monangai. But is Monangai going to be consistent week over week, or is it the DeAndre Swift show, and it's just Monangai getting lucky here and there? That's a tough one, Diablo. That's a real tough. New to the channel, appreciate the late live. Hey, good to see you, brother. Thanks for coming in here. I'm usually live kind of late, but usually I'm live for like 3 or 4 hours by the time it's this late. I was out partying earlier tonight, had a Halloween party. I'm a pumpkin, and so got started late. But yeah, I love going live on either Friday and or Saturday nights, previewing the NFL week matchups on Sundays. I go live pretty much every Tuesday night to recap Monday Night Football and the week. So I'll be live next after tonight on Tuesday. I go live every Wednesday with Hartman and Who Hames. We do a weekly show. We rotate channels and all that good stuff. We talk about the upcoming week in the slates. And then I take Thursday nights off because Thursday Night Football. And I go live sometimes on Friday and usually Saturdays. Thanks for being here, man. Glad you could make it in. And tough question. I'm a slightly into Downs. Oh, Crispy says tops. Yeah, top smash start. Devontae Smith could have his wide receiver 1 week. I think so too, right? Because it's kind of like that situation. The clean windows, premium volume, full route tree. AJ Brown rolled out. He's got 5 red zone targets. He's commanding 26.3% of the Philly red zone throws. Dang, I didn't know that. That's what you want to be at. Drive finishing leverage baked in. Yeah, this is the week for Smith. I mean, I think Smith is always a guy that, the talent's there, right? The Heisman winner. He's had the big seasons. The Eagles aren't throwing it as much as they could be, but let's just look at the wide receiver matchup. I mean, against the New York Giants, is this somewhere we want to be? Heck yeah. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles, a super plus matchup against the New York Giants. They're at home as well. They're a big favorite. The number 2 best matchup for the Philly wide receivers this week. Like Crispy was saying, we know AJ Brown's out, so yeah, I think it's a very good take. I mean, if you've got him, if you got Devonta Smith, this is the week to start him, right? With Downs, if the games is out of reach, the Colts will run the clock. That's definitely a possibility, right? That's definitely something that could happen. And we think with Lamar Jackson out, the Bears should kind of dominate this game. And they might just also have that effect where they're trying to like the game script, like they're running the clock out, they're running the ball out. So you might see Swift get a ton of work. You might see Monangai get a lot of work. So like I can see where you're coming at if you're like, oh, I slight lean to Monangai over Downs. But there is some recency bias to what Monangai did last week. And assuming that could carry forward or hoping it might, it could be risky. We've seen these rookie running backs pop off 1 week and then disappoint the next week, a la Bill Krosky Merritt, Woody Marks. Tootin had a good week or two and had some pretty much mid weeks, all the rest. What's up, Jeremy? What's up, Splash Zone? Joshua, how we doing? What's up? Talent, how we doing? How we doing, brother? Rabona said, what up, man? Yeah, what up, Rabona? I saw you in the chat earlier. How we doing tonight, my friend? Hope you're having a great Saturday. Getting ready for a nice week 8 in the NFL season. How we doing? What have you guys been up to this weekend? I just got back from a Halloween party. I've been getting after it. Been having some fun. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Jeremy says, bro, team is cooked. I'm in a situation between Theo Johnson and Jaden Higgins for my flex. Okay. Who would you start? Even if it's not tight end premium, I'm still a slight lean to Theo Johnson here. And I hate to say it, I'm not a big Theo Johnson fan, but Jackson Dart targets the hell out of his tight ends. Theo Johnson has been able to get it done. Jaden Higgins has not shown much of anything. I understand that Nico Collins, Kirk Cousins are out this week, so it is potential for a Jaden Higgins week, but we just haven't seen it. And the 49ers are a tough defense. Give me Theo Johnson against the Eagles, and I hate starting a tight end in my flex if I don't have to. Yeah, what's up, Kobe? What's up, John? Splash Zone says Kendrick Bourne or Marvin Mims Jr. Bro, it kind of feels like Kendrick Bourne, doesn't it? It kind of feels like Kendrick Bourne. It kind of feels like Kendrick Bourne's the play. And I guess it's tough. 49ers against the Texans is a very negative matchup, right? Like one of the worst matchups of the week. The Broncos, on the other hand, have one of the best matchup against Dallas. So this is like opposite ends of the spectrum. Do you start the wide receiver based on the matchup? Mims is so like hit or miss. Tough to know. I think this is a true toss-up, though. If we just look at what's been going on, we'll do weeks 5 through week 7. Let me refresh. Hit the refresh. So through weeks 5 to 7, half point per reception for wide receivers. I'll show you where Kendrick Bourne's been. I'll show you where Mims has been. Kendrick Bourne's the wide receiver 12 with almost 300 yards in the last 3 weeks. 3 receptions of plus 20 yards. No touchdowns, though, but he's getting it done with the yardage, averaging 12.8 fantasy points per game. Pretty impressive stuff for Kendrick Bourne, actually. And the 49ers continue to struggle with injuries. I mean, we'd have to go down to find Mims. We have to really... Mims is way down here. Wide receiver 46, only 125 yards, no touchdowns, 6.5 fantasy points per game. So if you're going based purely on matchups, you might think Mims. I'm going to go Bourne there. Yo, what up, Josh? What up, Nate, Janos, Kobe, John? How we doing, brothers? We got Matt in here, Jeremy. Joshua says, should I start Kenneth Gainwell or RJ Harvey? Oh, bro, that's tough. I'm starting Gainwell in my home league, unfortunately. There's been better days. We've seen good weeks from Gainwell. We've seen some mid weeks. Gainwell's still getting some work. Let's put it simply. Let's look at the data. So for Gainwell, he's averaging 0.85 fantasy points per touch, 11 touches per game, about 9 fantasy points per game. But he had one of the higher scoring fantasy outputs in a game this whole season from the running back position at 28.4 back in week 4. He could pop off. He could have a big game. Pittsburgh, Aaron Rodgers is throwing some touchdowns, slinging the rock. For RJ Harvey, 0.87 fantasy points per touch. So actually a bit higher, comparable, a little bit higher. Only 7.7, touches per game, though. That's where we fall behind. He's averaging 7 points a game. His highest output was about 18 fantasy points. So Gainwell against the Packers, tough defense. Harvey against the Cowboys at a plus matchup. And this is tough. I think it's a little bit smarter to go with Harvey. It's been tough to trust Gainwell when Warren's active. Warren's been pretty good. So And I'm not excited about Dobbins that much either. I think because it's such a plus matchup, and that's kind of the difference here. Let's go Harvey. Let's go Harvey this week. What's up, B Silva? How we doing? B Silva. Talent says bye weeks. Jalen Warren or Jalen Waddle. Ooh, that's kind of. I mean, both of those are great options to start. I mean, you're in a good spot if you had to pick between one of them. I'm a little bit of avoid the Dolphins right now, so I'm going to lean Jalen Warren the way they've been using him. It's a tough matchup, I will admit. It's the 20th out of 26th matchup for running backs and adjusted points allowed for the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Green Bay Packers this week. So it's not great for Jalen Warren, but he's involved in the passing game. Compare that to Jalen Waddle. Waddle has got an equally terrible matchup to 25 out of 26 for the Miami Dolphins against the Atlanta Falcons this week. So give me Jalen Warren. Nate Janos, what's up, brother? Says, should I trade Dak for Lamar? Dak's plus another player worth for Lamar. I want Lamar. I know that he's out this week. He's already had his bye week, though. Dak has a bye week coming up in week 10. Dak is killing it, but Lamar's undeniable. I want Lamar for sure. Yo, what's up, brother? What website is this? Sorry that I answered that so much later than you asked, Kobe. I'll answer for all the websites that I show. So this one is The Athletic. It is a premium subscription, but it's pretty cheap. It's theathletic.com. It's part of the New York Times. This is Jake Seeley's weekly fantasy football strength of schedule matchup rankings, adjusted points allowed. Shout out to Jake Seeley. Super sharp guy. I also use FTNfantasy.com. This is the air yards display data. I use this for mostly wide receivers, tight ends. I also have basic ESPN current weekly matchups. I look at that for the odds by ESPN Bet to see the over-unders and the lines, and also remind myself who's playing who and where. This website here, this is not a website. This is my Google sheet. This is some data that I put together that I look at. So I do a lot of data analysis in season and preseason for drafting and for tracking data. This is backwards looking. It's historical data on the running back performances this season. So I keep close attention to the running backs, the opportunities they get, and how effective and how efficient they are. I think for the other positions, it's a little bit more self-evident. It's pretty obvious which QBs are good, which wide receivers are going to be good. The tight ends go in and out. You got to kind of just keep aware of the tight ends weekly as well. But the running backs, I think, is a very crucial data point. Very, very, you got to stay aware of the trends and the running backs and who to sit and start and who to pick up kind of thing. And so I'm trying to keep tabs on that. Probably I think it's the most important thing to keep track of for me, at least. But yeah, this is my own private Google sheet. I do share it though. If you reach out to me on Twitter, I can send you the link for you can be a viewer of my Google Sheets. I have a lot of data in here, but particularly now I look at all this running back historical data. Here's another sheet I have where it's like every single game performance of all the running backs all season long. And so, this is showing Christian McCaffrey had 35.6 points in week 7. Gibbs had 35 in week 7. Bijan had 32.8 in week 6. Jonathan Taylor had 32.7 in week 7. So I'm keeping tabs on all the individual performances, and then I'm rolling that up into a summary here where I'm looking at trends, I'm looking at benchmarks, I'm looking at per touch data, per game data, all the good stuff. Appreciate you being here, Kobe. Rabona Vagabond, what up? We got Champagne in the chat. We got Vagabond here. Let me see. John says, would you trade Ladd and Love for Lamar in Dynasty? I have May, Purdy, and Penix. I would. I want Lamar in Dynasty, so I would trade Ladd and Love for Lamar, especially if this is super flex. Quarterbacks are all that more important. A slight caveat: if it's single QB, you might just be fine with May, Purdy, Penix, and Love, and then you get Ladd to start in a one of your wide receiver slots. So if it's single QB, I think you have the depth to keep Ladd and Love. But if it's super flex, I'm gonna go for Lamar. Jeremy says, that's who he was thinking too. Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you. Yo, what's up, Matt? How we doing? Matt friend in the chat. Good to see you, brother. Splash Zone. I also have Calvin Austin. So Kendrick Bourne, Marvin Mims. I'm still gonna go Kendrick Bourne. Calvin and Austin, we kind of got to see it come back. He's been injured. He's been out. Sup, man? Just chilling, eating pizza, enjoying the show. Hey, nice. I'm a big pizza connoisseur. Do you have a favorite type of pizza, a favorite pizza shop, a local spot you go to? I've got some recommendations if you want to know. I've got recommendations for pizza. I mean, the Houston area where I'm from. Not, I mean, there's fine pizza here. There's some good spots. I got recommendations for pizza in Austin, Texas. I got recommendations for pizza in South Beach around Miami, that whole area. Where else do I have recommendations? Those are my main spots, I guess. But yeah, love it. God, I'm a huge pizza fan. If you ask my 3-year-old daughter, what is daddy's favorite food? No question. She knows it's pizza. We do pizza Tuesday nights at my house. We get dough, fresh mozzarella, some other cheeses, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, some tomato sauce, and we make our own pizzas. Me and my daughter Tuesday nights, most Tuesday nights. We haven't been doing it as of late, but we do it a lot. And we make our own margarita pizzas. We throw some, tomato slices on there, some fresh basil to finish it off at the end. But that's a fun thing we do at home. B Silva says, "Oh, and he's a Dodgers fan. Shout out to the Dodgers fans, even though they're the Devils. But to each their own." Start who for upside and floor? Flacco, Dart, Caleb. Give me Caleb this week. Give me Dart most other weeks, and I don't want to start Flacco if I don't have to. Because Caleb has a great matchup this week against the Ravens. Dart's pretty fun, though, but Caleb's good. Matt says, would you send either of these 10-team PPR? Would you send Waddle and Gadsden for Nico, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Moore and Woody? Oh, no, sorry. Would you send Waddle and Gadsden for Nico or Marvin Harrison Jr., DJ Moore, and Woody for Nico? And this is Dynasty or redraft? Because it matters a little bit. Because in Dynasty, I'm not trading Gadsden. Gadsden is a Dynasty gem right now. He's a buy high. He's a buy if you can get him. I would give up a first round pick for Gadsden right now. I almost am willing to offer it. I'm almost there in some of my Dynasty leagues. I think I want him. If it's redraft, would you give up Waddle and Gadsden for Nico? Maybe. We haven't really seen a lot out of Nico. Waddle's fine. Gadsden's great. Or Marvin Harrison Jr. and DJ Moore and Woody for Nico. I'm closer to doing that one. But at the same time, not Woody. Nico's been underwhelming, so it's tough. I'm a slight lean to not trading for Nico, and just it's kind of like a bad season for them. If it's Dynasty, Nico is more interesting. Kobe says RJ Harvey dropped in my league. Is he worth stashing over guys like Monagai, Tootin, etc.? I probably want to stash Harvey over Tootin. It's become very close with Monagai, just the way he was used last week. Kind of want to see how that continues. And the Bears have a great offensive line as well. The Denver Broncos have a great offensive line. The Jaguars have a fine offensive line, not bad. They're all about the same tier for me, but I'm a slight lean to Monagai and Harvey at the current moment, just because we haven't seen Tootin utilized a whole lot, right? Oh, Matt says 2 different leagues, both redraft. I don't know that I'm necessarily targeting Nico Collins right now. I hate to say it. It sounds, I wouldn't have thought I'd be saying it, but like, I don't know. I don't know if it helps you that much, honestly. Should I give up on Caleb Johnson? It's in a redraft league. Yes. Yes, I can say that. Any Elam team surviving for you, Rabona? Oh, no, sadly not. I only did about 20 Elams. I honestly thought I would do way more. I wanted to do 50 or 75, but my plan was to do Elams as soon as I was done doing my Best Ball Manias, and the Elams closed like way before Best Ball Mania. I think it was like 2 weeks before. So I only got 20 Elams in, and then I lost my last one going into week 7, 8. So I lost my last one in week 6. Unfortunately. Rabona, how many Elams you got going, brother? Are you still in this? Are you surviving? Better handcuff, Monagai or Gainwell? I think that's a tough. We've seen it from Gainwell, Champagne. We've seen Gainwell be the guy, put up one of the best fantasy scoring weeks. That week 4 he put up 28.4 fantasy points with 2 touchdowns, 99 rushing yards. He gets some work in the receiving game. Monagai had a 16-point game last week, so we're kind of chasing that, but we think it could be something meaningful going forward. The Bears are a good team. The Steelers are a good team too, apparently. Better handcuff. I'm going to do a slight, as a pure handcuff, I'm going to do a slight lean to Gainwell. Very slight lean, but Monagai is up and coming. And then should I trade Judkins for Shakir and Barkley? No, sir. I prefer Judkins to Barkley straight up. I like Judkins better than Barkley rest of the season. So Shakir's fine. He's kind of like a low-end flex. Keep Judkins. I'm not targeting Barkley. We just haven't seen it out of Barkley this week. Vagabond wants to know Pacheco or Tez Johnson in the flex. Let's go Tez Johnson. Sounds crazy. I don't really like what we're seeing out of Pacheco. Maybe he gets slightly more usage because Kareem Hunt's kind of banged up, but also Rashard Smith's been getting some usage. So let's go with Tez Johnson. Baker Mayfield's a guy. He's slinging the rock, and they're all banged up. So Tez has been getting some good play, right? Joshua wants to know, should we start Bo Nix over Patrick Mahomes? I don't think I'm there yet. The matchup this week is very good, so maybe I could be convinced. Let's scroll down and look, Josh. It is a good matchup for Bo Nix. It's the best matchup of the week. Kansas City, though, against Washington, also a top 10 matchup. I'm a slight lean to Mahomes. He's kind of killing it. I know we just saw Bo Nix go off for like 40 points last week against the Giants. I still think I slight favor Mahomes. I don't think you're crazy, though, if you want to start Bo Nix because of how good of a matchup it is and what we saw last week. B. Silva wants to know, start one flex, full PPR, JCM, a.k.a. Bill, Noel, Slayton, no way, or Pierce, Alec Pierce. I think I still want to start Bill. I know he hasn't gotten the full workload. Go to Bill. Let's go, Bill. 0.84 fantasy points per touch, averaging 11.4 touches per game. We've seen a 26-point week from him. He's only averaging about 10 points per game. I think there can be some good games ahead. We need the touchdowns to hit. They might lean on the run game a little bit with Jaden Daniels out, Mariota in. I'm not a believer in Slayton. With Noel, it's very risky. Pierce is fun and a good start. I would go JCM, Pierce, Noel, Slayton. Yo, what up, Jay Whitty? How we doing, brother? Champagne says, how legit do you think the Oronde Gadsden breakout is? 10 out of 10. Fully legit. I'm fully bought in. I'm about to give up a first-round pick in my dynasty leagues to get Gadsden. I have no dynasty exposure to Gadsden, and I want him. I think between Tyler Warren and Gadsden, they are the future of the tight end position from this rookie class. Let's hope Colston Loveland can show something because I've got him in some dynasty leagues. And I remember So going back to last year, there was fantasy college football for 2024, and I drafted a few teams. Oronde Gadsden was a top 10 pick in fantasy for college fantasy football. Same scoring rules, half point PPR, no tight end premium. It was super flex. But Gadsden was still a first round pick going into the pre 2024 season. He had an okay 2024 season. Gets drafted where he does. We're in 2025. He's a baller. He's showing out. The usage he's getting, the numbers he's put up, off the charts. Literally insane. Champagne wants to know, should I try to trade Ertz and Gainwell for him? Yes. I would give up Ertz and Gainwell for Gadsden in a heartbeat. I'm just hesitant how the number of pass catchers and Chargers and something getting blanked. That is scary because you see guys like Quentin Johnston get blanked. But Gadsden is picking up a ton of momentum. And the thing you have is like it's formation specific. So if the Chargers are running two wideouts and a tight end, Gadsden's in. I mean, Gadsden is blanking Will Dissly. Forget about him. He's blanking Tyler Conklin. Forget about him. Gadsden's the future. The connection with Justin Herbert's undeniable. If you can get Gadsden for as cheap as Ertz and Gainwell, sign me up, brother. I'm in. I'm fully on board the Gadsden hype. There's a number of people I'm following on Twitter. I'm trying to think who it is who's been promoting the Gadsden hype lately, but from everything I'm seeing and what I believe and who I trust, Gadsden is him. He is the real deal. He is a top 5 tight end rest of season. Yeah, James Cook usage is elite. The box score not in play. We haven't seen its whole we haven't seen an insane amount of James Cook touchdowns. He's only got on this season, he's only got 5 touchdowns, but he has a ton of yards. When he has 626 yards in 6 games, he's getting it done. I mean, James Cook's still getting it done. We could expect a little bit more touchdowns, I think. The yardage is there. The usage is there. The 8th in targets, says Chris B for running back. 6th in route participation. 7th in yards per touch. And PPR combo of receiving equity, open field juice, lifeline you want. Hell yeah. Yeah. No, I think James Cook is also a player you want in fantasy. He's like a buy right now. Josh Jacobs a buy. James Cook's a buy. Javonte Williams a buy. Should I drop Stephon Diggs for Garrett Wilson? Guillotine League. So waivers are juicy. Well, I don't think Garrett Wilson is playing this week. I think there's a chance he sits. But I will say, when it comes to Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs.
Diggs is the guy.
Diggs. 100%. I'm a great guy. I'm actually a great guy.
There's actually seems to be a few guys that don't think that.
Diggs is a great guy. So I'm not personally in any guillotine leagues, so I don't have like the best perspective on that. But my opinion would be roll with Diggs for now. Because, maybe the guy who picks up Garrett Wilson cuts him again next week. I think because Diggs you could flex him this week, is what I'm saying. Deep dish. Lou Malnati's. Hell yeah, brother. That sounds delicious. Deep dish. I like it. Splashdown says, so for my slot, then Dalton Schultz, Calvin Austin, Marvin Mims, must win week for me. Ooh, for the flex? I mean, if these are your options, I'm slightly into Dalton Schultz. He's been performing well. He's getting the usage. He's playing the snaps. Nico Collins and Kirk are not playing, Christian Kirk, so they're gonna potentially get Dalton Schultz the ball a good amount, right? And then it would be a close second a close second Marvin Mims because of the matchup against the Cowboys, but it's hard to trust Mims. Calvin Austin, I can't just trust him just yet. Chris says, had thin crust cheese pizza, half mushroom topping actually last night. Pizza from a place called TD Pizza in New Jersey by me. Hell yeah. Oh, that sounds great. No, I love a good cheese pizza. Love it. My favorite's a margarita pizza, which is just a slight different take on a cheese pizza. the classics, the pepperoni, the Italian sausage. I like a good prosciutto, or I like a good I like some arugula on pizza is good. On a big cheese pizza. I like a white pizza. I think prosciutto. I like prosciutto on pizza. Yeah, I'm a big pizza fan. Champagne says start 3: Cook, Judkins, Javonte Williams, and Achane. Ooh, this is tough. I mean, you have an embarrassment of riches. You got to start Cook. You got to start Javonte. So it comes down to Judkins or Achane. I'm looking at the data right here, Champagne. Achane averaging 17, 0.99 per touch, 17 touches per game. The Dolphins suck. Judkins averaging 15 a game, slightly lower, 0.74 per touch, but 20 touches per game. So he's getting more touches. The Browns also suck, but they're playing the Packers this week. Kind of a tough matchup. Judkins has had a week where he had 26 points. Achane's best week, he had 29. This is a real toss-up. Let's go to the matchups. Let's look at the Jake Seeley numbers for running backs. Who's going to decide it for us? We're starting Javonte. We're starting James Cook. Do we start Achane against the Falcons? Well, it's a bottom 2 matchup, but at the same time, and I misspoke there on the Browns. They're playing the Patriots. I was for thinking back a couple weeks, but Judkins against the Patriots, it's also a bottom tier matchup. So it's a toss up. I think you couldn't go wrong. I'm a slight lean to Achane over Judkins, I guess, because the Dolphins are bad, but are they worse than the Browns? I don't know. I don't know. That's a tough one, man. That's a real tough one. But definitely go Cook and Javonte. Can't go wrong there. You have 4 good options, so at least you have you're in a good spot. Yeah, Matt was saying 2 different leagues. Hey, appreciate you being here. Yeah, I know. If you want to go after Nico, Matt, he's definitely a good player. We're just not really seeing it this season. It's kind of tough. Champagne says, who's the better stash, Brashard Smith or Isaiah Davis? Give me Brashard Smith. Yo, what up, Jay Whitty? Yo, what's up, Ray Gamer? How we doing, brother? What's up, Hunter Smith? Hope you guys are having a great Saturday night. Sunday morning. It's getting late. I'm having some fun. What's up? How's it going, Jay Whitty? Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend. Champagne says, I'm surprised we haven't seen offensive player trades this season being so close to the deadline. Yeah, there's the talk about Brian Thomas Jr. getting traded. There's a talk about A.J. Brown getting traded. In your experience, do they all happen closer to the deadline? Newish to fantasy. In real NFL, the real NFL trades are pretty surprising when they happen, actually. I don't know if I have like a data point on that, but like right before the deadline, it seems like it always kind of goes quietly. It's not like the NBA where a lot of things happen right before the deadline. For fantasy, if you have your fantasy deadline for trading, I'm in some leagues where you can trade season long all year round. I know some leagues have trade deadlines and they might be coming up soon. It can be tough. I would always suggest trying to do 2-for-1s where you're trading 2 of your players to level up at either running back or receiver and consolidate towards a higher value player who has a higher ceiling. I want to go for all ceiling. Matt says, with Penix likely out, do you prefer Mariota or Fields? Honestly, I think I prefer Fields, which is tough to say because he sucked lately, and the Jets suck, and Garrett Wilson could be out, and Breece Hall could be out. But they're playing the Bengals. Mariota's playing the Chiefs, who are not a pushover. Would I be surprised if Mariota scores 18 points and Fields scores 6? No. Okay, am I hopeful that Fields can score 20 points and maybe Mariota scores 12 to 15? I think is also kind of likely. They're both pretty good for a fantasy. These are Fields is scary. He's been volatile lately, and, but he can't get benched anymore because Tyrod Taylor's hurt. So I'm going to go Fields. Mariota, he can do it, but at the same time, it's the Chiefs. It's kind of sketchy. Yeah, Cousins. Yeah, it honestly might, right, Matt? I mean, if you could get him for that cheap, I would do it. Yeah, what's up, Hunter? PPR, pick one. Fannin, Mason Taylor, Jawan Johnson, Colston Loveland. Let's look at the tight end matchups. But my first thought, like off the dome, my gut says take Fannin. I know we looked at this before. Mason Taylor has the best matchup right here. Jets versus the Bengals. But it's the Jets and it's Justin Fields. No offense to Chris B. It's tough. Looking at Fannin, Jawan Johnson, and Loveland, I think we've heard some whispers that Komet's not healthy, might not play. So more opportunity for Loveland. He's got the 12th best matchup against the Ravens. That's kind of intriguing, but high risk, high reward. For Jawan Johnson, it's a very good matchup. Number 7. So he's definitely startable. He's had some good games. He's been a good play this year. And then the last one you suggested was Fannin, right? And the Browns have a middle of the pack matchup against the Patriots, who have been pretty good against the tight end, actually. So my gut says Fannin. I think I'm a slight lean to going with either Fannin or Jawan Johnson, kind of tied, and then Mason Taylor, and then Loveland. Crispy says, I believe Garrett Wilson sits out. Oh, he's not playing for the Jets this week, and the bye possibly to come next week in week 9. Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yo, how we doing? No name Fins. What's up, brother? We got Richard in here. What's up, Richard Becker? How we doing, my friend? Ray says, start 2 in standard, 6 point per touchdown. Yes. Yep. Makes sense. Rice, Egbuka, Sutton. Give me Rice. Give me Egbuka. It's close, but I love Rice. I love Egbuka. I'm a fan of Sutton too. I mean, Cortland Sutton, friend of the channel. Shout out to Cortland Sutton. There he is right here. Boop, Cortland. What's up, man? He's having a season. He's doing well. He's having a pretty good season. So, Cortland Sutton balling out. It's a great matchup against the Cowboys. One of the best matchups this week. Boop. Yeah, I bet y'all didn't know I had that. I haven't broken out the Cortland Sutton since the middle of the summer. Wide receiver matchup. It is the best for the Cowboys, but it's hard for me to ignore Rashee Rice and Egbuka. They just, to me, are a little bit better, but the Bucs also have a good matchup against the Saints for the receivers, and the Chiefs kind of middle of the road matchup against Washington. I can't bench Rashee Rice and I can't bench Egbuka. So it kind of comes down to that. But I wouldn't blame you if you started Sutton because of the good matchup against Dallas. Ray also says that Jefferson only got him 7.4 as his wide receiver 1. Which QB should I start? Flacco, Rodgers, or Dart? Yeah. Bro, that's tough with Jaden Daniels out and Goff on a bye. Give me Jackson Dart against the Eagles. I think he can get it done. Rodgers has been on a heater, but it's a tough matchup against the Packers. And then Flacco, I just am not excited about, although I know he's been decent. I know you think you could start Flacco, but I don't love the Bengals. They're playing the Jets. It's fine, but I would rank them Dart, Rodgers, Flacco. Yo, what's up? Richard says, Marks or Tez, full PPR for the flex. I think you guys have convinced me. We're leaning into Marks. It is a tough matchup for him. It is for the running backs. The Texans have a kind of bottom 10 matchup against San Francisco 49ers, but we're thinking Marks is going to get utilized more. We want to see it. Tez is in a decent spot, top 10 wide receiver matchup. There's some injuries there. He's getting a lot of run. He's had some touchdowns lately. He's looking pretty good, but I think he's kind of like a big play one-off and might not be as consistent with Marks. I'm hopeful we can see. I'm a slight lean to Marks because he also gets work in the passing game. I don't hate the Tez play this week though. Rachaad White or DK Metcalf from Way Gamer. Hard to ignore what DK Metcalf has been about lately over the last 3 games. I'll scroll down. I mean, Tez has been legit as well. So like, there's Tez Johnson, top 21 wide receiver in the last 3 weeks. So like, looking at that, I can't blame you if you go with Tez. He's doing it on 9 receptions. He's averaging like 3 receptions a game, so it's pretty tough to come by. DK Metcalf averaging 12 points a game. Oh, I have this filtered by fantasy points, not fantasy points per game. So yeah, Tez is 28 by per game fantasy points. I knew that was wrong because DK has been better. DK has a pretty good touchdown connection with Aaron Rodgers. He's got 5 receptions of 20 plus yards over the last 3 weeks. It's coming from Fantasy Pros website, by the way, if I didn't mention. DK Metcalf, kind of like, I think, a slightly better version of Tez in a similar situation. Give me DK Metcalf a lot of the time, but compared to Rachaad White, we just think Rachaad White's going to get all the touches again this week. And I don't see it being a very negative matchup against the Saints for the Bucs. So this is tough. This is a true toss-up. I think DK Metcalf can pay off, but it's usually kind of a big play thing, similar to Tez Johnson. It's kind of what I was getting at, like big play. And if he doesn't get that big play, it can be tough. Let's go Rachaad White for the consistency, for the high volume expected touches. Yeah, and I think Rachaad White also gets it done in the passing game. I think Metcalf is actually kind of a negative in the PPR formats because he's more of a big playability touchdown guy. And then Rachaad White's actually more of the volume guy. So I'm going to go Rachaad White. No Name says Cousins or Flacco. I'm sick because Daniels is hurt. Bro, I feel your pain. I am starting Justin Fields this week in the Superflex, my home league. I have Baker. I have Justin Fields. I'm benching Penix because he's hurt. It can get worse. I think I'm a slightly into Cousins. The QB matchup looks decent for Cousins. Number 4 against a weak Miami defense. For Flacco against the Jets, it's kind of middle of the pack matchup. And I don't love Flacco. I think I might rather go Cousins, even though we haven't seen it out of him this season yet. Drake London could be out. I think I'm still leaning Cousins a little bit. What's up, Manuel? How we doing? Lin Su? Good to see you. Matt says, I went to the UC versus Baylor game tonight. Oh, hell yeah, brother. First UC game in a while, and it was a ton of fun. 11 rows up on the 30-yard line. Great game. That's tons of good seats. Yeah, super fun game to go to. Hell yeah. I was watching my Horns come back against Mississippi State. Whew, scary there. And they came back. They got it done in overtime. 2 weeks in a row, they've gotten it done in overtime. So, yeah, big day for college football. We had Ole Miss. We saw Ole Miss come back and win. A&M takes down LSU. Indiana continues to roll. Alabama continues to roll. Who else did we see? Oklahoma. Yeah, we talked about Ole Miss. Miami continues to roll. Stanford, the joke. Sorry, Stanford fans. Vandy gets a nice win over Mizzou. What else? Texas Tech gets a dominating win over Oklahoma State. Tennessee is the superior team in the Tennessee versus Kentucky matchup. And then, yeah, the Cincinnati game, they just topple Baylor. They put up a ton of points every quarter, it looks like. So 41-20 for Cincinnati. Very nice. Fun stuff. I got to get myself to a Texas game sooner than later. Me and my friends are talking about getting tickets to the Arkansas game. They're kind of pricey, $200 a piece for like bad tickets, and I don't want to sit in bad seats, so kind of tough. But I'm going to be going to at least one home game, and then we'll see. Don't want to jinx it. They've been to the playoffs the last 2 seasons, and I've been to some of those games, but don't want to jinx it. Who's better IR stash, Jaden Reed or Joe Mixon? Probably Jaden Reed, because I don't think Joe Mixon's playing this year. Lin Sue, how you doing? Good to see you. Hope you're having a great weekend, my friend. Would it be crazy to start Bo Nix, Dobbins, and Mims, all 3 in PPR? I don't think it's crazy. They're going up against the Cowboys. We know the Cowboys give up a ton of points. The worst defense in the league, the best matchup for opposing players in fantasy. So Nix goes off last week. I'm not crazy about Dobbins. If you have any better options at running back, I can easily see you starting someone over Dobbins. He's kind of a low ceiling, medium floor kind of play. I'm not crazy about Dobbins. Mims is flashy. He's hit or miss, but if it's because of bye weeks and whatever else, if you're forced into starting Mims in a wide receiver spot, or even Dobbins or one of them in a flex, like it's totally viable. So can you team stack the Broncos this week? Yes, I'm not afraid of that. Manuel says, without Lamar, Zay, or Terry from injury. Well, I think Terry McLaurin's playing, right? Oh, without Lamar, do I play Zay or Terry from injury? I don't know. Give me Terry. I see what you're saying there. I read it wrong. Give me Terry. I guess against the Chiefs on Monday Night Football, it's kind of a tough matchup. Zay Flowers without Lamar, though, is tough. But a better matchup against the Bears. That's close. I'm a slightly into Terry, I think. Oh, nice. Matt says, what does it mean for Gadsden moving forward? He's kind of like a top 5 tight end. He also has McBride. So what I would do is, obviously McBride's on a bye. Start Gadsden this week, and then whoever you can get more for. Because I'm cool with starting Gadsden rest of season. If you can get more from McBride because of the name value, I'm cool with trading McBride, and I would target a high-end running back if someone will give it up. I'm thinking Judkins, Swift, Kyron Williams, Scattaboo. ETN might be fine. A little bit of I don't think you can get Cook or Jacobs or Javonte Williams, but if you could, I would. So maybe Javonte Williams is a target if you give up McBride. If you're giving up Gadsden, I'd probably say a similar range of like try to get like Swift, Achane, Judkins, Kyron, Scattaboo. I wouldn't give them away for cheap, that's for sure. Where do you rank the Pats defense? Well, I'm going to rely on Jake Seeley's adjusted points against matchup rankings here. The Patriots defense, we'll look at it through the lens of opposing matchups. So the Patriots defense going up against the Browns QB is ranked 11. So that's a middle of the road kind of matchup for the Browns against a Patriots defense. So how does the Browns quarterback look this week? Well, they're about 11 out of 26 against the Patriots defense. So that's fine. Running back wise, it's a tough matchup. It's 23 out of 26. So the Patriots defense is very good against the run. The wide receivers, the Patriots are not great against wide receivers. The Browns are also not great at passing the ball with Dillon Gabriel. So that's fine, but that's a 5 out of 26. And then for tight end, I think I saw it was like kind of middle of the pack. Oh, no, that's the Patriots. Yeah, no, there's 16 out of 26. So I think the Patriots defense is a very viable start this week, especially as you're going up against a rookie QB and Dillon Gabriel. You can take advantage of that. So I'm cool with it. Where would I rank them? Probably like a top 10 play. Probably. Yo, what's up, Victor? How we doing? Hunter, what's up? We got Blake, PMOR in the chat. How we doing? Victor says Daniel Jones or Dak Prescott this week. My gut says Daniel Jones because he can take advantage of the matchup against the Tennessee Titans. At the same time, according to the adjusted points allowed, it's the 23rd out of 26 matchup against the Titans. I mean, I know they kind of get after they have a good pass rush, relatively, a decent defense, but Dallas is also 24 right after them against Denver. So I'm a slight lean to Daniel Jones this week. Dak's been on a heater. Denver defense is pretty strong. And I think I believe that a little bit more. It's all relative, but like the drop off from the Colts against the Titans to the Cowboys against Denver is actually pretty big. 3.3 to 4.8 and kind of the adjusted points allowed. So let's go Daniel Jones, but you have two good options. It's hard to say. Yo, what up, Kenny? How we doing, brother? Blake says, pick one to start, May, Dart, or Caleb Williams. The thumbnail says start him. It's got Caleb Williams on it. I don't want to steer you wrong, though, because you have some great options. I am a big proponent of starting Caleb Williams this week. It's the 5th best matchup for QBs against the Baltimore defense, who's given up a ton of points. Like we saw him give up a ton of points to CJ Stroud and the Texans a few weeks back. But Drake May going up against Cleveland, kind of a negative matchup. Drake May's been killing it, man. He's been great. Hard to bench him. Do I think I would rather start Caleb Williams than Drake May this week, though? Slightly because of the matchup. Maybe it's slight lean to Caleb Williams. And then you were saying Dart, which also love that. Dart's a fun start, but the Eagles are tough and kind of also a bottom half matchup. So if I'm going purely off matchups, give me Caleb Williams. But you have 3 great options there. It's going to be close. We know Dart and May can get it done on the ground. Caleb scrambles a little bit too. But I think Caleb could just be in a good spot this week. I hate to steer you wrong. You have 3 really good options, and Drake May's been killing it. So if you feel strongly about Drake May, I think he's still a fine start, but I'm going to slight lean to Caleb based on that. Racist, thanks for the advice, fam. Pretty much had Rice and Buka in already one league and had White over Metcalf another, but still stuck on the QB1. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for the questions. Glad I could help. We'll see. Who knows going forward? I'm trying to make the best decisions I can. I'm trying to learn more every day, get better every day. And y'all in the chat also are very sharp. And so anytime we have a question from the chat, I love it when we can all also answer each other's questions, come together, get some consensus. So let me know in the chat. Let me know your thoughts. Anytime we have a question on the screen, let me know what you think about it in the chat. As you're posting your own questions, we can respond to each other's questions, try to get there together, see what we think makes sense. If you have any counter arguments, I'm all ears because I want to know what's going on. I want to try to get better and make the best decisions because I'm gonna be wrong a lot of time, but hopefully we're right a little bit more than we're wrong, and we can win some of these leagues and get some weekly wins. That's what we're here for. Good vibes, having fun, trying to get better every day. So thank you all for being here and watching tonight. Make sure you slap like on the channel. Let's get to the next question. Champagne says, should I buy low on Jordan Mason, offer maybe Ertz and Gainwell for him? Yes, I'm in for that. I want Jordan Mason. He's been disappointing. I expected more, but I think he still can hold it down. It was a terrible game on Thursday night for him. I think better things ahead, but man, tough. Hunter Smith says Stroud or Mac Jones. Touchdown equals 4. Interception is -4, and a pick 6 is -6. Oh, shit. Give me Stroud. I'm more afraid of the Texans defense than the 49ers defense. And I think that's also what the data shows. The 49ers defense is the 21st best matchup for QBs. The Texans defense is the 26th, aka the worst matchup. And I think it could get dangerous there, but I would go slightly into Stroud, right? Kenny says, should I start P? I'm not 100% sure what that means, Kenny, but let me know in the chat. And thanks for being here, brother. P, not sure. Blake says, okay, bet. Appreciate you, bro. Gonna decide right before kickoff. Yeah, I know, right? I know. It's gonna come down to it. Me too. Like, I'll be kind of tuning into the news tomorrow and kind of figuring it out. GT12, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yes, plus Gainwell is out versus Warren on the trade for the Jordan Mason. I think that was a comment for Champagne. GT wants to know CJ Stroud or he's answering. Yeah, probably CJ. That's what I'm thinking too, right? Like probably CJ. We've had some good weeks out of CJ. We've had a lot of bad weeks. For Mac Jones, we've had a lot of good weeks. They're banged up though too. The 49ers are banged up. It's like you're relying on Kittle coming back and he's been pretty ineffective. Tongas was actually better when, Tongas was getting it done, but Tongas immediately ineffective once Kittle's back, and Kittle wasn't getting anything done. McCaffrey is killing it. Kendrick Bourne's been viable. Jennings is banged up. Pearsall's out again. Texans are without Nico Collins and Christian Kirk. That is something to consider. Do they just lean on Dalton Schultz? Does Jaden Higgins take a step forward? Is Jalen Noel still effective? Can Xavier Hutchinson do more than nothing? Is the run game going to get there? Is the passes to Woody Marks going to be viable? So this is tough. Considering all of the injuries on both sides, I'm still probably a slight lean to CJ Stroud, but that's tough. Not great options. Okay, Kenny says Pitts or Schultz at tight end. Give me Pitts because I think London is out. At the same time, Nico Collins is out. So I could see Schultz. Schultz has been doing well lately. Let's look at the tight end matchups just to confirm what I think I know. It's a good matchup for the Falcons against Miami. It's a top 10 matchup for tight end for Pitts. For the Texans, it's also a top 10 matchup against the 49ers. So I don't think you can go wrong. I don't know why, but I feel like I'm a slight lean to Pitts. It seems like it could work out. But just when you think you want to start Kyle Pitts, it's always the worst time to start him. So Schultz has been pretty good. Schultz is pretty underrated right now. I think Schultz might have a better floor. Pitts has a better ceiling. Let's go for ceiling. Let's go with Pitts. GT thinks Schultz. Too inconsistent. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I came around to. Pitts is more inconsistent. Schultz has been more consistent. But I think Pitts might have a higher ceiling. And I want to go for ceiling. Let's unselect Jacksonville. Let's select Houston. And let's compare. So Dalton Schultz, 39% opportunity rating. Maybe I should zoom in a little bit, but I hope y'all can see it. Kyle Pitts, also a 39% opportunity rating. They are nearly identical. It's actually crazy how identical they are across their metrics. They both have a 19% target share. They both have a 14% air yard share. They both have a 1.3-ish range racer, which is their total yards divided by their air yards. So that's a lot of yak, right? Their average depth of target's about 5 to 6 yards. Pretty terrible. Schultz didn't have a touchdown. Pitts does. They both played 6 games. Their yak is about 130 each. Their yards is about 200 plus or minus each. Air yards. Their total yards is 284, 285. They both have 30 receptions. I mean, Kyle Pitts and Dalton Schultz could not be more similar. This is the two most similar profiles I've ever seen of any two players this season, not just from tight ends, but this is incredible. I think Pitts has the slight nod because he has that touchdown, but it's crazy. I think it's very close. So yeah, I'm going to go. My gut says Pitts, so I'm going to do a slight lean to Pitts against the Dolphins, but you could 100% go Schultz, just like GT thinks. Ceiling could be Pitts. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. This could be the Schultz week, though, like you're saying with the injuries. Yeah. Rest of the season Pitts, but for now for Schultz, I'm in. I would agree with that. I mean, it's that close, Kenny, where it's like, what do we do? Do we put our faith in Kyle Pitts? It seems like the wrong thing to do, but at the end of the day, it's very close. Appreciate you for being here. Thanks for being here, guys. Yo, what up? What up, Levi? How we doing? Olave or Buka? Let's go like Buka. Rattler, pretty inconsistent, going up against the Tampa Bay Bucks this week. So, I mean, this is a matchup, Tampa Bay versus New Orleans. We think for wide receivers that Tampa Bay has a good matchup against New Orleans, but New Orleans has a good matchup against Tampa Bay. I'm going to put my faith in Baker Mayfield over Spencer Rattler, and I think Egbuka has shown he's that guy. Olave's had a nice week. Been a fine year for him. I think with Olave, there's a little bit more to be desired. With Egbuka, we're very surprised how incredibly good it's been. So give me Egbuka. And yeah, PPR. Levi says Hall or White. So Breece Hall or Rachaad White. I hate to say it. I hate to be that guy. Give me Rachaad White. I'm pretty out on Breece Hall right now. He hasn't scored a touchdown all season. The Jets are suffering. It's a good matchup against the Bengals too, but I mean, give me Rachaad White. Rachaad White's better per touch. And Breece Hall scares me, man. Shout out to Chris B, Jets fan. Love you, but I'm afraid of Breece Hall this week. I think he knows it too. Let's go with White. Yeah, appreciate you being here. Thanks for the questions. Yeah, I mean, Egbuka, right? Egbuka has been just killing it. And then we think White. I mean, it's tough with Breece. It's tough with any of the Jets. Hard to trust him. Hard to know what to do. Appreciate y'all being here. Make sure you like the stream on your way out. I'm going to go live again after this slate of Week 8 games. I'll be live Tuesday night for some more of your regularly scheduled content. We'll get back into it. Have a great week, everyone. Have a great rest of your weekend. Follow me on Twitter at FFB Garage. You can tweet at me. You can DM me there. If you have any questions, sit starts, or whatever the rest of this week, the rest of the season, you can also comment here on YouTube on any of my previous videos, and I will respond. If you have any other questions, sit starts, fantasy advice, all that good stuff, trades, what to do. Thanks for being here. Have a great night. Catch y'all in another one real soon. Let's kick it to the outro.